Welcome, everyone. Today, I just wanted to talk about a perpetrator that I just found out about a few days ago from a family member. They just kind of like sent me the name and said, like, hey, look up this news article. There is a teacher who is a perpetrator. So, this is 13 ABC side is on your side or whatever is like a news channel. um, or at least it's the article, anyways. I'm just gonna read from it real quick, just to kind of tell you about it. So, Kent County Jail is the credited photo there. So, former Hope Academy teacher charged with 10 counts of criminal sexual conduct. Hope Academy of West Michigan contacted GRPD to report allegations of CSC after an elementary school age student described the teacher's alleged actions to leadership. So the student told the leadership of the school and described like what this teacher was doing. So good on the teachers or principal or whoever told the cops that it happened, because a lot of the IFB schools don't go forward to police or to CPS or anybody, whoever they're supposed to be calling. They usually don't do that. And that is why we've had so many adults come forward saying, like, my abuse was never reported or I was never helped and things like that. So that is good. And this school, I think, is more towards like Christian values. I don't know if they're like actually a Christian school or an IFB school, but when talking to my source that I got this from, he said that he believes this guy was like a Baptist and like had, gone through different religious beliefs and things. And so that made me feel like, you know what? It's worth talking about. It's worth mentioning. So this is all alleged right now because he hasn't been convicted, but he has been arraigned. So, and this article is author Mary Dupas, published 12:37 p.m. EDT, June 17th, 2026. So, Grand Rapids, Michigan, a former Grand Rapids teacher has been charged with criminal sexual conduct, CSC, following a lengthy investigation, according to the Grand Rapids Police Department, GRPD. George Marshall, 57, a former teacher at Hope Academy of West Michigan in Grand Rapids, has been charged with 10 counts of second-degree CSC. He was arraigned on Wednesday. Earlier this year, leadership at Hope Academy of West Michigan contacted GRPD to report allegations of CSC after an elementary school-age student described Marshall's alleged actions to the principal, which got on the principal to actually call the police. This is what we need. Following a lengthy investigation by Family Services Team, FST, detectives with support from the Children's Advocacy Center of West Michigan, Marshall was charged and arraigned. At the time the report was made, investigators initially identified 3 victims, including the student who first came forward. Okay, so the student and then 2 other students. During the course of the investigation, an additional 4 students came forward with similar allegations against Marshall. So we're going on 7 kids. GRPD said there may be more victims and urges anyone who believes their child might be a victim or has other information pertinent to this case to reach out to FST detectives at 616-456-3380 or to contact Silent Observer, which I don't know what that is, but I guess, you can Google it if you're in that area. So anyone near Grand Rapids, Michigan, if you kids are involved in that school at all, like definitely check on them. Oh, and isn't that nice? Right below here says Kentwood physical therapist sentenced for sexual assault of patient. It's Mark Scarlato was sentenced to 3 to 15 years for sexually assaulting a patient under the guise of blah, blah, blah. It goes on. And this is WZZM News. It says 13 on your side, ABC side. Anyways, I'm just disgusted by that, obviously, with this guy. What the heck was his name? So gross. George Marshall, 57 years old. Teacher at Hope Academy of West Michigan in Grand Rapids. So it's all alleged until he's convicted, of course. And we have to say that for like legal reasons, not because we want to. We do believe the victims, and I believe my source said that these were third graders, and so it's elementary school, and I could be wrong. He could have said second grade, but I feel like it was third grade. Anyway, so he's telling me that there was even cameras in the classroom, and that's a huge issue. If this guy was brave enough to be doing inappropriate things with cameras in the classroom, like how brazen can you be? So, all that to say that the world is getting very disgusting. And maybe it always has been, but most of us were like too scared to talk about it, too oblivious. You know, the ones that weren't abused were just very naive and thinking it would never happen. The ones that were abused were scared into silence and couldn't say anything. Now everyone can talk, and there is more of a safe space to come forward about this stuff, which is great. But it does seem like the world is more and more disgusting as the days go on. So, I wrote down some notes. So it's just mind-boggling that this is happening because he is like touching kids during the school day. He's a teacher in elementary school where we're supposed to legally send our children. We don't have a choice. We have to educate our kids, right? It's like against the law if we don't send them to school. And the state sure as heck cares how many days they miss from being sick. They sure as heck care if you are enrolling them every year. But why is it that that's not like the safest place in the world? Why are our children getting abused at school? Whether it's bullying or mistreated by a teacher or sexually assaulted. Like, it is out of control. So, us as parents, us as general public, us as victims really need to keep brainstorming this stuff. Like, I wish I could just homeschool my kids at this point because the world is so scary. But then there's the side of, well, not everyone can homeschool because at home could be the dangerous place. At home could be where they're getting abused, where their perpetrators live. And that's terrifying. So it's like, I don't want to push like, hey, everyone should have to homeschool so that no kids are being like exposed to these pedophiles or bullies or whatever. But then sometimes they're at home. Sometimes the problem and their biggest like abuse, I don't know, their biggest perpetrators are living with them. So then it makes it really scary. Like, what do we do? What kind of happy compromise? What kind of safe compromise can we do? Now, cameras in the classroom is a pretty good idea. Is it kind of creepy having my kid recorded all day? Like, kind of, I don't know, like picking their nose or picking a wedgie or something like that. I don't want it to ever used like, I don't know, as like a bad thing. Or like in the bathrooms, like you don't want cameras in the bathroom because you want your kid to have privacy, but also that's where somebody could be getting abused. So it's like, I don't know what the right answer is, but definitely we need to keep talking about it and realizing that it's happening so that more people can keep their eyes out for our kids. And someone that's not a pedophile can, back the kid up and be a good witness for them and check on them. So some ideas I was thinking about was maybe every teacher should have a spotter. Whether it's Christian school, public school, IFB school, whatever. At this point, it's like, it's just running rampant. So it's hard to just focus and just talk about IFB because it's happening so much. This school is a charter school, which I think is religiously based, kind of like their morals. Like they might not say like, oh, I'm independent fundamental Baptist, but I think they're more geared towards the religious side of things and like, having morals and stuff, which sounds great. And it should be the safest place in the world for our kids. I think that's what's so disappointing is the places that should have the highest standards, the places that should be giving you and your children the most like valuable education in how to treat people and how to have a moral compass, how to have character when no one's looking. All of those great morals that, most of us should have, it gets really ruined by these creeps and these people taking advantage of the most vulnerable people. So with that said, I think maybe every teacher should have a spotter. It could be like an aide. It could be someone with like, I don't know, a special form of training to watch out for kids, to be the children's spotter. Like at the gym, you got a spotter to save your life. Our children need a spotter. They need someone to just be watching out for them. Like there's no ulterior motive for them. Like as a teacher, they're teaching. I mean, I don't think anyone that like goes to school and does all that hard work to be a teacher, I don't know if that would actually be their goal, is to touch kids later. That would be awful. But I mean, apparently pastors and teachers, there's a lot of them that do that. And I don't know if they start off that way. I don't know if it's just like something that's like, hey, this is easy access and it just becomes too easy for them to abuse people. I don't know. But maybe we could start hiring a group of people that have our kids back, that aren't just there to like make them pass the state test. They aren't just there for the state and be like, hey, you got to legally be at school and, you got to send your kid here, blah, blah, blah. People that are hired, I don't know, as their own entity or something, so that they don't care what the school says. They don't care that if they hurt somebody's feelings, they're going to watch out for the kid. Like it's for the kids. It's just an idea. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have anybody that's already done that in a school system. But yeah, like I know, there are special needs like paras and stuff like that and paraprofessionals that help out in the school. But are there people that just have the children's rights as their main focus and children's safety as their main focus? Because in IFB circles, we definitely didn't have that. In an IFB school, it was the teacher and that's it, and like we had a principal and maybe some like assistant pastors and stuff like that. But I don't remember having any kind of like a student counselor or anyone to like help with those kind of like, I don't know, behavioral issues or emotional issues or mental health. Like there wasn't that in IFB circles. Now, a lot of public schools may have more of those things now because of everything that's happened and, suicides and shootings and things like that, where we have evolved in the school systems for public schools, not necessarily IFB. And I think all school systems probably have a long ways to go to figure out the actual solution, because parents and the schools have to work together, because sometimes students are just out of control and the school can't really fix it because maybe it's an at-home problem. And then sometimes it's a school problem where the parents are doing their absolute best, but the school is failing a kid in XYZ department. So it's just something to think about. And like I said, please like let me know your thoughts because I want to hear from you guys and yeah, see what y'all think. So let's see what my other point was. All right, so obviously if we came up with like a whole kids spotter group of people to help out in the classroom, we would obviously want to make sure that they're safe and not attracted to children. But then there is a funding issue, obviously. Like who's going to pay for this and like how would we run it and how could we make that happen? And is it even a good idea? Would it even make any difference? I don't know. I mean, it goes to like nobody should be alone with your child that's not like the parent, or like the trusted, I don't know, like babysitter or whatever. And just have like, like the doctors nowadays, a male doctor usually has like a nurse come in if they had to do any checking of a woman because of so much that has happened in the medical field and medical abuse and stuff. So maybe something like that in the future, like classrooms should always have two adults or something. And then even just so like the teacher can go to the bathroom so the kids aren't left alone. Something like that, like take turns and just spot each other. And then my other idea would be to have principals just walk in more, and I know principals' jobs are busy and it's hard, but maybe even an assistant principal or maybe someone designated like a hallway monitor, but they're just popping into classrooms and like always somebody's got eyes on these teachers. And is that annoying? Yes. Would it be disruptive? Probably. And would it distract kids from learning? Probably. But half of them aren't even learning because they don't want to be there and they're miserable and they're bored and they're distracted anyways. So I would rather them be distracted and safe than bored and not safe and getting abused. So, you know what I mean? Like there's 1,000 things that we could fix about schools and about how kids learn. And I would love to fix them all. But right now we're just zeroing in on one problem, which is pedophilia. and keeping our kids safe in school. I have children in this world, and I hate the world I'm raising them in. It is terrifying on so many levels, whether it's bullies or their homework or their teachers are rude or whatever it is. Like, it's a hard world to live in and know what the right thing is to do. So for right now, I'm just focusing on, churches and schools and sexual abuse. And obviously, we know it's a huge scope. It can and happen in so many places. But maybe while we're learning how do we tailor IFB to be better and to be safer, because we can't just make them all poof away, we can also implement those same rules or boundaries in other places, whether it's doctors or lawyers' offices or wherever the abuse is happening. Like, put those same boundaries and rules and policies in place to help everyone stay safe. So we could have principal check-ins, but also have like parents. Now I know it's hard even for me to like go to school because like my kid forgot her lunch or something. Like, I have to go to work too. So like they have to go to school, we have to go to work, and it's just like that busy life where you barely see your kid. It's hard enough to get to school for like a parent teacher conference, but maybe the ability for parents to have more like kind of free reign of checking in on the school. Like, let's say their kid is getting bullied and they just want to go check on them. And they should be allowed to, like, okay, stop at the office, sign in, whatever you want to do, get a little pass or show them their ID, making sure that that is a parent of a student that's currently going there. So we don't allow any creeps or shooters in the schools. But maybe parents should be able to just walk in and check on their student. And I think that's fair, not to be disruptive, not to be like pull them in like, a Karen mom that's like, I'm taking Johnny and blah 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 blah. But like, it is their children. And if it's a law that kids have to be sent to school, right? They have to get an education. There should also be laws to protect these children from that entity that they're learning from. So parents should be able to come in. Any concerned parent about any concern should be able to just walk in the class and be like, hey, just want to check on Johnny. I don't have to disrupt. Keep on teaching. I just want to see how you're doing in here. They could sit in for a little bit and watch the class, or just, pull the kid out for a minute and be like, hey, is everything going okay? Is there anything you need to tell me? Like, how's it going? Anything, or like parent lunch day or something. I don't know. Like, more involvement so that there's more adult eyes on these kids to advocate for them, not more pedophiles getting away with more things. Like, we don't need more secrecy. We need more openness, and for teachers to be aware that they're going to be watched and they're going to be caught and they're going to be prosecuted. Like, if we're giving them all this access to our children all day long and then they don't have to be checked up on, like, I don't think so. Yeah, so the other things, like, I was thinking, if it came to like teachers being alone, obviously like having that buddy system, having like a spotter in the classroom, or having lots of check-ins, which the check-ins I don't think would be as effective as just another body in that class. What would be awful is if the two were both pedophiles and they spotted each other. That would be the worst combination ever. So maybe to avoid that, you need to have like spotters rotate so they don't get too close to that teacher and too much like, I got you, because we don't want that. We don't want anyone backing each other up for the wrong reasons. And we want lots of, training and communication on what those people should do for the children. And, maybe they could be educators themselves, rotating teachers in different classes. And I don't know, something. We just need more trusted adults, not less adults and less trust, because this is a very scary world. We're raising the next generation right now. And are we going to raise a bunch of kids that are unstable, mentally unhealthy, suicidal, and self-harming, and bullies because they don't know what to do with this emotion? They don't know how to feel what they're feeling, and they're not working things out. Like, we don't need more of that. We don't need more instability and more kids getting on meds to try to cure all the problems that they're going through when they really just need to solve the problem. But I won't get into that. It's just a thought that's popping in my head. Either way, we need to protect our kids. We need to have somebody advocating for them, whether it's Christian school, Baptist school, charter school, public school, just a private school that's you just pay for. And I don't know what makes them like special. Like private, but I don't know if they're like religious reasons why they're private or it's private because like they do things in a more expensive way, maybe a more expensive education, or it's the teachers that like need that extra money. I don't know. I don't know what private schools do that aren't like attached to a religion. I don't know how that works. But anyways, we need to fix all of them. And put some good things in all of them and keep talking. Like, if you're an educator at all, please give us your ideas and thoughts. Let us know what you think about it on your end of things. And then parents, let us know what you think. And victims, let us know what you think. Like, what do you think we can do to keep making the world a better, safer place for kids? And obviously, I'm saying a lot about kids being abused, but I know any age, any gender can be abused sexually, and that is a problem. But we are just trying to tackle one little thing at a time, which is a huge thing. Yeah, so bear with us as we are really, really trying to come up with ways to make the world better. But we definitely need your help. We need everyone to work together. We want schools, parents, come together, work together, come up with the safest way to have our kids in school or at church. Because, like I said, it's a law that they have to go to school. So they should be the safest at school. And I don't know what it's going to take, but we got to get something done. Okay. Have a great day, everybody.